Hello, welcome to Inspiring Women with ADHD. I'm Renee Allen, the host of this podcast. Excited to be here today. And I want to talk to you today about something super common for me. It might be for you too. And that's when you get a diversion in your day. Sorry if that was noisy. When you have something unplanned, not that happens because of somebody else, but happens with your own brain. So it's not you get a phone call and you're asked to do this and then you do that instead, or somebody asks for help or something. It's something that's completely led by you. The other can happen too, but this is more self-driven, and it's something that you can notice in your own brain and see, is that something that happens that I'm causing to happen? And is it a good thing, or is it something that I wish I wasn't doing? I'm figuring that out. I just realized my computer's not centered with the camera, so I keep looking like I'm off to the side, but that's my little diversion right there. But let's say that you're opening your emails and you get a message from somebody, and maybe people don't write to you by email as much as they used to, but you might get an email with something that you think, oh yeah, I should do that. I know I need to be getting ready to go, but I was just going to check my email and I should probably pay this bill or something like that. And that might not take very much time, and that might not distract you for very long. But let's say you just check social media for a second. Just, who knows why? It's that need for dopamine. That's what they say all this scrolling can do for us. And so you just check, or you're just curious about something, or you're in a Facebook group and you want to see if someone replied to you, or you wanted to buy something on Marketplace. And so you're looking there to see if the person responded or if there's something else that you want to buy instead. And when you go on there, you see it's someone's birthday and you think, oh, I should wish them a happy birthday. But instead of doing it really briefly, you think, well, I should maybe text him instead, or find something clever. Like I used to actually make my own art and send it, just like, find like or even just Google like happy birthday Teresa, and then copy and paste that and put that in there. And now there's just so many other ways to do it. But instead of something being really simple, just to look somewhere to get information, or just to kind of add some charge to your brain in some way, you actually use it to distract you as a diversion, and you go down another rabbit hole. And you might spend a while going on Canva, or thinking, I need to do this, or, oh, it's that person's birthday and they live here. I should reach out to them and see if they want to get together for lunch, or, all those things that could happen. Sometimes they're really important because it's important for you to communicate with them, or you're so glad that you didn't forget it was their birthday. Other times it can drain a lot of time. It can be a time drain from your day if your brain just keeps going and going and going with it. Sometimes that's good. Sometimes it takes a lot of time, and it can make you miss appointments, be late for something, neglect doing something important. Like, let's say you were going to pay a bill and you didn't, and your homeowner's insurance got canceled, or any of the things, the mishaps that can happen because our brains get distracted. So things that you can do to help are just writing down what you need to do, even if you've already started doing it. So if you get distracted, let's say this is in your notebook that you might have open, or a calendar, something that you can physically see, a Post-it note on your desk or table or fridge. So even if you are working on it, if you get distracted, you'll go, oh yeah, I was working on that. Because how many times have you been doing something and you completely forget? It happens to me far too often. And honestly, I feel like, and I'm just kind of like boosting myself up here for this, bracing, whatever it is. I have my appointment with my behavioral health specialist. He's a psychologist resident, and he's a doctor, but a resident. And I haven't met with this one yet. I keep getting different residents every, I don't know how long, every year or something. But I feel like if I really explain to them, if they say, how are you doing? Or how is this helping? Like, is your medication helping? Yes, it's helping with this piece of ADHD, which is super helpful. But there are so many other pieces that I wish it would help with. And I know for some people, some medication does help with that. So it's frustrating because it seems like when I share those things of what I'd hope to get from medication, that, I don't know, I'm giving recommendations to go to therapy or something. And I think therapy would be wonderful if it could help with something like this. But this is actually a brain glitch. Like, for me to be in a room and be working on something and then go in another room and an hour and a half go back in the first room and think, I completely forgot I was doing that. I don't, maybe I'm naive, but I don't see a therapist helping with that. I see me developing tools to help with that. There's other things, right? So back to this, having those tools, writing down things and deciding what's important, what you value, and noticing when you're doing it. And hopefully you can follow me with this. I'm following myself. Hopefully you're following it too. But let's say you eat lunch, you check your texts, and it makes you realize there's somebody you haven't texted in a while, or they ask you a question or something. And so you look into it, and it just takes you down this big path that you weren't intending to go on. And your lunch that you're going to take is turned into an hour of reaching out to this person or telling them that, or going and working on something that you weren't even planning on because it got you thinking that. You go into a room and you think, I'm going to find this book because somebody wanted to borrow that book from me. You go into the bookshelf and then you decide, I think I'll rearrange the books. And you do something that's fun. It's energizing. It feels important in the moment. It could be something completely different for you. But you realize, I have taken this train off of the track and I am headed somewhere else. And not even looking back. And so when you recognize that you're doing that, when you're going down a rabbit hole, when you are hyper-focusing, especially when it's something that you haven't intended to do, just noticing that you're doing it is very, very powerful. It's like any kind of mindset training or mindfulness. It's not about having the mind that works perfectly the whole time. It's about getting in the habit of noticing what's going on in your mind, noticing the pattern that's happening in your life. And it's not that you're trying to segment yourself into, I am a person of this pattern or that pattern. I can see, sorry, my hood on my sweatshirt is crooked in the video, and I'm just trying to fix it. And I know it's probably loud and noisy, and it's confusing because it's, like when I pull right, it's actually left on the screen. But I had to fix that. So yeah, distraction. But back to this, it's more about just getting into the habit or developing this skill or practicing noticing what's happening. Just kind of saying, oh, because you probably do. Like, if you're online, you start shopping, you weren't intending to shop, and then you start thinking about, what do I need to buy these people for Christmas? And then you realize it's been a half hour, it's been an hour, it's been whatever. I've just gone into this cave, and I'm realizing I'm in here. And you're saying to yourself, do I want to be in this cave? And you may not even be thinking about the other things you need to do. You might not remember or be mindful of that, but just noticing where you are and asking yourself a few questions. Is this something that I want to do right now? It might be like, yeah, this person's birthday's in 2 days. I need to order this now. I'm so glad I'm doing this. Or it might be, yeah, this is important, but it doesn't need to happen right now. And I don't want it to be happening right now. And just having the power to tell yourself to stop and to walk away. You can bookmark a tab if you're afraid you won't find it. You can just put X on it, like if you're already logged in, your stuff will be in your cart. And nowadays, they always send you an email that says, looks like you forgot something in your cart. Thank you. I don't really want that distraction, but thank you. But they give you reminders, and maybe that is helpful. I don't know. But whatever it is, look at it and see, is this adding meaning to my life? Is this helping me in my life? Is it balancing out my life? It might be. Maybe you're working too hard and you need that little break. And so just kind of looking at, what are your values? What do you want to be able to do each day? Or what do you need to feel balanced? If you feel like you're working too hard and you're not connected with people, and you get a text from somebody or a message or something, and then that reminds you of somebody else, and then you start writing to that person. If you're a big time communicator like I am, and you want to be in touch with people, and you spend an hour writing messages to people or sending videos. There's so many opportunities, so many ways: audio message, video message, text, face-to-face, FaceTime, whatever it is, real life phone call, getting in the car and driving and visiting somebody. If it takes you in that kind of diversion and you think, this is what my life has been missing, I haven't done enough of this, that's a good thing. If you think, I just need a break and I can't, I don't have time to sit down and read to my children. I don't have time to do these things. I need to be focusing on this. But your child comes in, or you just think, maybe I should just go sit and read. I'll just share this one book or whatever. And you spend more time doing that. That's a really good thing. It's a really good thing. And just noticing that maybe when life is a little bit too one-directional and you have a diversion, maybe that's what your brain needs. Maybe that's what your body needs. Maybe that's what other people need. Because if you believe like I believe, and people believe it for different reasons, but if you believe that there are times when things we don't plan on doing come to our attention because it's needed by somebody else, because they need you or you need them. And when that happens, having the courage to let go of your schedule a little bit, take the time for that, and be the person that person needs, or vice versa. You just never know. You can get an impression, you can get a thought, and it might seem like a coincidence sometimes with the timing of this, and I just ran into this person, or I just met this person, and maybe that person should be in my life. And then spending a little time reaching out to them and including them in your life more. Some of these things aren't easy. Sometimes they don't make sense logically, productively, all those other things. It seems harder and harder to make time for things like that. And yet we really do have a lot of time. I say that when, the weeks just zoom by and it feels like we don't have a lot of time. But we all have the same amount of time. And I mean, I'm sure there are people that work, children, family, other kind of relationships in your life. And it doesn't feel like you have a spare moment. That maybe your brain going into a different area and feeling really good there, feeling driven to keep doing that can be a good thing. The hyperfocus can be a really good thing, not just for getting things done, but sometimes for taking you away from whatever maybe wasn't the best thing to do that day. Whether there's a best for everything, who knows? But it could be just, a better thing. So there's some different ways of saying these things. If it helps you to kind of think of when this happens in your life. So one is going down the rabbit hole, where you just get a tiny bit of information and you run with it, and you just go, I don't even know what is a rabbit hole. Is it a hole in the ground that you just keep digging through? Never really thought of it, because here's a rabbit hole I'm going to go through right now. Welcome. You get to come with me. But we've had bunnies in our yard before, just wild cottontail bunnies. I haven't seen them dig in the dirt but I've seen them dig in plants. Have you ever had big bushes with flowers and things? And they will literally make a hole. So I guess that's a rabbit hole too. It's not in the dirt. But here where we live, we find holes that armadillos dig, which I've heard they can try to go under your house and stuff. We haven't had that problem, but we have holes around our house that turtles dig. There's gopher tortoises here, and they dig holes, and our ground is very much like sand. And they dig and go in the hole. And I don't know how far they go. Maybe rabbit holes go farther. but we have a little path to the side of our house, and I've seen them in other places too, that sometimes you'll go walking and you'll see a turtle going really slowly, and then it'll see you and it'll go down into the hole and kind of hide. And most of the time when we go, I haven't seen it in actually over a year, but there's a few spots where I see that hole. But so maybe you can use your rabbit hole to go in and hide your tortoise or turtle hole. But back to other ways of thinking this. But sometimes it might feel like a black hole. Like a black hole is more of this abyss, or this cave. I've gone in here. I've gone in so deep. Can I get back out? And recognizing, is it a distraction that's kind of meaningless? I have very much so gone on time-wasting distractions that are meaningless, like literally a few days looking for a cowboy hat when I didn't really want a cowboy hat or need a cowboy hat, but I read every review and looked at the sizing and even drove. It finally took me going to Boot Barn and trying them on, where I thought, I don't want a cowboy hat. These aren't comfortable. And if I bought one that was comfortable like I had when I was a little girl, it probably cost like $300. I mean, they're really expensive. So I didn't want a cowboy hat. I was just going to a rodeo and wanted to have a cowboy hat, which is dumb because, I probably wouldn't have been comfortable. But yeah, that was a time waster for sure. So it was like that black hole. Sometimes when we do things like that, I don't know why we do them. I think it's a distraction for sure. Our brain can run with anything. But sometimes the overwhelm of doing something that's more important can make it kind of, quote unquote, relaxing to do something else that's meaningless. But other times it has a purpose. It's not just wasting an hour of time that led to nothing, but sometimes it does serve a purpose. Sometimes you're actually doing something for someone else or doing something for yourself. There might be other reasons, but just kind of identifying, is it a time waster? Or does it just take a lot of time, but it's actually valuable, even if it wasn't something you planned on doing? And sometimes it's just a detour to your day. It's not where you plan to be, but it was still valuable. And managing that distraction and recognizing when you really do need to stop. I was working on some things yesterday morning and knew, even though I was feeling so good inside, and the good inside isn't like, oh, it feels so good because I was doing something great for somebody. It wasn't that. It was just that momentum that you get. When you get momentum and you're working on something and you're just in that groove and you don't want to stop, it's really hard to stop because it's not always easy to get that momentum. But when you need to manage whatever it is you're doing, you're managing yourself, you have to notice what you're doing. You have to look at a clock and you have to see, okay, how much time do I have and do I need to stop? And even if it feels so much better to keep going, you have to, kind of break that tie, save it for later. And in my case, I haven't gotten back into it. It's been since yesterday morning and I haven't been able to get back into it. It might take a while to get that groove back, but it's important. and it's kind of a bummer, but that's life, right? Yeah. And sometimes it's just a rest break. Your body needs a rest, and you might do something that's more calming in that way. And just tell yourself, I can spend this much time doing this. If you're afraid it's going to take longer, you can always just set an alarm and get yourself to stop at that point. Just like even a nap. If you need a nap, but you are afraid, I don't want to sleep too long, or I don't want to get too groggy, set an alarm so it's not very long, and just give yourself the little bit of time you need, or to recharge, go for a walk or whatever. Oh, yeah. But there's something about serendipity, the happy accident, that sometimes these things become that. where you just recognize, I'm so glad that my brain was alerted to this today and that I was able to spend time doing it because it led to something good. And that can mean all kinds of things, leading to blessing someone else's life, helping you learn about something, someone, whatever. It can have some great benefits. So, yeah, just think about what you value in these moments. And if it's aligning with something you value. If it's aligning, which I don't know if that's actually called aligning, but if it's aligning with something that you wish you weren't doing, let's say you're trying to budget more, you're not wanting to spend money and you're spending more and more money. I know for me, and that it can be this impulsive, obsessive part of ADHD, and impulsive technically is part of the attention, not the attention deficit, but the hyperactive. But the obsessive part can come along with, I feel this impulse, I need to keep going. I need to keep going and keep going. And it's really strange because I found that when, I don't know if you've ever done this, and I've been wanting to make some episodes about money, especially this time of year, because the reason they call it Black Friday, it's when companies traditionally, I don't know if it's still the case, but it's when they are no longer in the red the whole year and they're finally making money, and they're making a lot of money. And so as a result, we're spending a lot more money. And so I've been really evaluating money and habits and the emotional attachment to money. But with money and obsessions or impulses, I think it's easy to see an impulse buy, especially if you're just even going to the store for a controlled buy. Like the controlled buy is I'm walking in the door because I need to buy some milk or eggs or something, simple, basic. If you're a vegan, then it wouldn't be either one of those. But whatever you're walking in the store to get, you're going in there to get it. And the people who design the layout of the store know that they put the things on the end aisles so you will see them. They put things by the cash register so you'll see them, you'll notice them, and hopefully buy them on impulse. It might occasionally be something that you're saying, oh, good, I would have forgotten to buy those if I hadn't seen it. Yesterday I went to Trader Joe's. I saw bananas. We needed bananas, but I usually buy organic bananas. If they're better for me or not, I don't know. But I passed by the regular banana section, never saw, and I wasn't looking for it either because I already forgot once I passed the regular banana section. But I never saw the organic bananas. They're probably there. But I got home without bananas. I didn't realize till I got home, and I thought, oh no, I forgot bananas. So if they had strategically placed the organic bananas, that would have been helpful to me. But most of the time when you see something on the end aisle, it's something that you weren't even thinking of buying, but because they're suggesting it, you do. Or the things by the cash register, think of what they are. They could be things that, oh yeah, I need that. They even put medicine there, like ibuprofen, or, they have little miniature things of medicine, or gift cards. Oh, I should buy a gift for somebody. They could be things that you need to do, but a lot of them are candy, soda, things that you're just like, yeah, I'm hungry or I'm thirsty. And it becomes more of an impulse buy. Or it's the make your kids go crazy impulse from them or whatever. I guess it's them. For you, it's them going crazy. For them, it's the impulse. But they see the helium balloons, or they put things there for the kids so that the kids will say, Mom, will you buy that? And it used to make me mad. I would tell the cashiers, I wish they wouldn't put the balloons right here. But it makes sense. You can see them from the store. You can grab them last minute. You're not going to carry them around the whole store. But it just, turned into kids that weren't happy because I never bought them for them. So the impulsive part of money makes sense. But what about the obsessive part? Do you ever have kind of a pattern of this kind of distraction where let's say somebody gives you a $100 gift card to a store. And so you spend some time on that website going and looking and deciding what you're going to buy from that store. That has developed some little pattern or some little recollection in your brain of, I like this store. They have sales occasionally, and maybe you check that store far more often, that website, even though you've already spent the $100. I found that when, like years ago, I entered a contest. I don't know if I've ever shared this. Many years ago. I should look up what year it was. But I entered a contest with Debbie Siebers. I don't know if you watch any Bachelor shows. I haven't watched any till now, and I guess it's one of the worst ones. But The Golden Bachelor, season 2 is on right now. And Debbie Siebers, if you haven't already watched it, I won't give you the spoiler. They're on the last episode, maybe tonight. I don't know. I don't watch them live. I watch them the next day. But she is a fitness instructor. Now she's in her 60s. But she was living in LA at the time and made workouts for Beachbody. So she made the Slim and Six series, and then she remade it many years ago. I know it was before, it's probably 2008 or before, because I went down to LA for that. But anyway, I used to do exercise videos for many, many, many years, starting like in 1992, if you really want to know. And so then I became a part of the Video Fitness Forum online. I don't know if any of you were ever a part of that. Some people still are. It was before Facebook, so it was a way to go and talk to people who were in your realm, who love to talk about what you love to talk about. And there was even a catalog that came in the mail. I think it was quarterly every season, collage video catalog. And I'd scour it, look for new workouts. And so after I had my 4th baby, in 1996, my dream was this, what dreams are made of, however they come to our brains. My dream was to be a success story in that catalog and have before and after pictures, because I always gained weight when I had a baby, and then use my workouts. And then you get, I think it was $100 worth of free videos. And it was expensive. When I bought a video, it was like $20, and it was like a big purchase that I was buying one video. And that was back in the VHS days. So anyway, I did that with my 4th baby after he was born, sent the before and after pictures, and won. And I got the $100, and I was so excited and everything. And then years later, after my daughter? Yeah, it was 3.5 years later, I did it again. They let me apply again. They didn't reject me, and I actually was on the back cover that time. It was kind of lame because that time they were really specific about the after picture, and they wanted it to be me playing Frisbee in a park in my workout wear, but like shorts, and the shorts were really short. It was weird. It was weird. I didn't go to a park. I just used my front yard because it was really green. But it's really dumb. I'm just like there, like I'm about to throw a Frisbee. It was so stupid. But I got the $100 again, and it was really fun. And one of my good friends was on the back cover not long after. And so when we met, I say my good friend, back then we didn't know each other. We just wrote each other because of Video Fitness Forum. This is another diversion. Like I took something I was interested in, like exercise videos, took it to another level, being on a forum every day, took it to another level, being interested in this contest, did it twice. And then after my last baby, he was born in 2002, I could not lose weight for the life of me. I was 38 years old, and now you know how old I am, but I was 38 years old, and I couldn't lose weight like I had before. It got harder in my 30s. It definitely got harder after my daughter when I was 35. But 38, it was just like, this weight is not coming off. And somebody told me about the Slim series, which was an advanced version of Slim and Six. And I'd never bought Slim and Six. I don't think I'd bought any Beachbody programs. I think I tried P90X. You could trade on Video Fitness Forum, or we had another forum where you could actually buy from each other because you couldn't buy on VF, as we called it. But anyway, I applied. I bought the Slim series. It was the first series I bought from Beachbody, and they used to have infomercials. I don't know if you're old enough to remember infomercial days, like when Jack LaLanne would sell a juicer or something. Was he the one that sold the juicer? I think he was. I think I bought one in the middle of the night. I learned when my youngest was breastfeeding at 3 a.m. when there's infomercials, you have no willpower. You have no willpower because you're so tired. But I'd watch those infomercials. So I told myself, you have to wait till morning if you really want to buy it. But I did end up buying that. I think it was his juicer. I don't remember. But anyway, So I bought from Beachbody. I had to call an 800 number to order it. And it's kind of like now when you go on a website and they keep giving you ads and pop-ups and you just keep thinking, go away. I just want to, like, I'm just trying to buy a sweater or something, like, go away. So that's what it was like, trying to buy these exercise videos that they kept saying, would you like to buy this supplement? Would you like to buy this protein shake? Would you like to buy this? And I'm like, no, please just let me buy the videos. I did. And they did wonders. Debbie Sieber's plan of light weights, like 2s or 3s for an hour, 2 of the workouts for 78 minutes. And I did them and I lost the weight. I did the 6-week program and it totally worked. It totally worked. I was in shock. So somebody told me one day, they sent me an email and said, look at this. Beachbody is doing a contest that if you lost weight with Slim and Six, you could win $1,000. This is looping back to my conversation about, or my story about money. It's just an idea of, I guess I don't have to give disclaimers about my stories. But anyway, back to the Slim Series thing. Slim Series was technically part of Slim and Six, but not really. Anyway, so I go to enter the contest. I look at the requirements. And it was win $1,000, get a trip down, workout with Debbie. And in infomercials, a lot of times she would be working out and there were all these people in the class. And I thought, that's so cool. We'll get to actually go and take a class with Debbie and get $1,000. I could use $1,000. We had a round table. It was a good size, but we had 6 kids. We couldn't fit around it very well. And I thought, I want a really big rectangular oblong table. That's what I want to spend my $1,000 on. And so, so I entered the contest, kind of. You had to have a video of yourself explaining what the workouts did for you. I think 10 minutes of that, which 10 minutes is kind of a lot. And then 10 minutes of you actually doing a Slim and Six workout. Well, I didn't own a Slim and Six workout. So I bought one from the little forum where you could buy one from somebody because, we didn't have Amazon back then or anything. And you couldn't buy just a single workout from Beachbody. And so I bought, I think, Keep It Up, which was, I think it was Keep It Up. Yeah, it was the most advanced. It was the most like the Slim Series. It was an hour long and it was more challenging than the other ones. There was like Start It Up, Ramp It Up, something like that. Anyway, they were all something it up, even in the Slim Series. Mix it up, tear it up. Anyway, so I get Burn It or Keep It Up. I think that was it. Maybe Keep It Up came in. Maybe it was Burn It Up. Maybe it was Burn It Up. If you've done Slim and Six, you probably know. I think it was Burn It Up, and then Keep It Up was a separate one you could buy later. So yeah. So I buy Burn It Up. I do the workouts, and some of it was hard. Like, I don't want to video myself doing push-ups. I'm not good at push-ups, or whatever it was that I wasn't as good at. But I could do stationary lunges. I don't know exactly what it was, but I found a 10-minute segment, recorded myself doing it, and in pure last-minute passion, I thought, you really need to do this. You really need to do this. And so I hung I went in my daughter's bedrooms and hung a blanket in the background. It was like a flower power blanket as my backdrop. And I don't even know how I recorded myself. It must have been like a VHS recorder. I think it was 8mm. And then I transferred it to a VHS. And I remember looking and watching myself because we didn't have laptops, or I didn't have a computer with a webcam. There was no way to do that back then. I had to do it with the tape and actually send in a cassette. And so I think I connected the VCR where I could see myself talk at the same time, and noticed that this is many years ago, but I remembered I looked older and more worn out if I wasn't smiling. I thought, you look a lot better when you're smiling. So while I was talking and I could see myself, I just kept smiling, but it seemed natural because I was happy to talk about it. But to tell what Slim Series did for me, and I said it was Slim Series, even though I said the other thing, because I was happy about it. I finally lost the weight. I had done really tough workouts for over a year and couldn't get, I was like, you got to believe me, I've tried everything. So I overnight at FedEx because that's how close it was to the deadline. I send it in. I think I had to have my husband take some pictures of me in workout wear, which was a little bit embarrassing because he doesn't work out. Like that's not his interest. So it felt weird for me to kind of like, hey, do this. This is what I'm doing. And maybe for other people that's not weird, but for us, we do very separate things a lot of the time, and we're good with that. Been married 37 years almost, yeah, and we're fine. So anyway, so I send it. I don't know how many weeks go on by, and I think whatever, I spent $20 on overnight envelope, and I get an email one day that says, "We're so happy that so many people applied. Like, we're overwhelmed with joy that, want to thank you for applying. You're in the top 100 and we'll make our decision by Friday." And I thought, this is the "you didn't make it" email. And we'll let you know on Friday that you didn't make it. And so I thought, okay, because I get it. I'm not a beach body person. I'm not a stand in the bikini by a surfboard person at all. I'm a mom who just had her 6th baby. And then the next day I get a phone call from them saying, "Can you come down?" I'm like, "What?" They said, "Can you film?" I said, "What, we're filming?" And I thought, well, I guess they're going to film the infomercial. And they said, "Can you come on this date?" I know it was in November. And I'm like, yeah. And they said, "We're choosing 4 of you, and Debbie really liked yours. We liked how happy you were." And I thought, well, that's because I was smiling because I looked better on camera. But I didn't tell them that. But I just thought, that's so weird that you're only having 4 people in your fitness class with Debbie. In the infomercials, they usually have, like a room full. And I said, "Why are you only choosing 4? And she said, "Because she's doing 4 workouts, and there will be 2 of you as background exercisers in each of them." And I thought, what are you talking about? I remember I was outside just stunned because back then when my kids were little, I had to go outside to talk on the phone sometimes to be able to hear. And I said, "Wait, we're actually in the videos?" And she said, "Didn't you know?" I didn't know I had ADHD then, but now I think about that. And that's how I read emails. Like I looked at the things and just thought, $1,000, trip to LA, meet Debbie. Okay. I didn't know they were choosing people to be in the workouts. So I'm glad that didn't stop me. But anyway, so I got to do it. And I got my $1,000. And I thought about it. And I thought, do I want to get a table? I also would like to get a different ring because I had a wedding ring, and it's another whole long story. But there are problems with it. I wasn't wearing it as often. And I ended up getting this little anniversary band that I have on now. But the thing of it is, with back to the money, is other people were saying, "Yeah, I'm going to use the $1,000. I'm going to go on a trip. I'm going to do." And I remember we got to get our makeup done and stuff. And the makeup lady said, "What are you going to spend your money on?" I said, "I think I'm going to buy a dining room table for our family so we can, fit around it." And they're kind of like, "Oh," they were kind of like, "That's so humble circumstances of you." It's kind of what they thought. Because here they were, in Hollywood. It wasn't really Hollywood. It was Burbank. And anytime like American Idol, when they say they're in Hollywood, they're really in Pasadena. I used to live there. The Pasadena Civic Auditorium. But anyway, Hollywood's not always Hollywood when they tell you it is, but we're in Burbank. And yeah, they saw me as a small town mom with a lot of kids. They were like, "You need help. You need to hire help." I'm like, does it seem like I'm doing that poorly? And they're just like, "No, everyone needs help." I'm like, okay, whatever. Don't have budget for that, but okay. But anyway, so I get home, my husband and I figure out like, where should we get a table and everything. And we decide to buy an unfinished one, and the kids help sand it. We still use it. It is solid as a rock. It'll, last through eternity. But the funny thing is, because I gave myself some consideration on what should I spend that $1,000 on, I found that I was like in a mode from that time on, like, I want to make another big purchase. So I still bought the ring. It was kind of like, should I buy the ring or should I buy the table? And maybe neither of them were both a full $1,000, but I've done that since. I've recognized since that, like, at Christmas time, like I used to be really good about, like hardly ever spending money on extra things and stuff. But at Christmas time, it's like, okay, I need to buy gifts and gifts and gifts and gifts. And then as soon as Christmas is over, my brain is in this mode of, I want to keep doing that. I want to keep doing that. I want to keep doing that. And just like, like making a purchase at one store because you have a gift card and then thinking, I want to shop there some more. I want to shop there some more. So it can be a very easy diversion because your brain has gotten into a new pattern of, I like this. This feels good. I want to keep doing it. And sometimes you have to reel it in and recognize, like, what's the reality here? Do you have time to be doing this? Do you have the money to be doing this? Even if you have the money to be doing this, which I don't, but even if you do you have space in your house for it? Do you ever start thinking you need to buy some item of clothing and then think if you have any room in your dresser or in your closet, or if you want to get rid of anything to make room for it? Probably not, So sometimes we buy things, or going to Home Goods, TJ Maxx, Marshalls. I love those stores. But do I have room in my kitchen cupboard for more dishes? No, no, I don't. I do have some pumpkin dishes, and it's that time of year. My son just said, so are the other plates somewhere else right now? He just said this morning. I said, oh yeah, those are the fall plates. Those are pumpkin dishes, so they'll be out till Christmas. And then I'll put our normal white plates back out. But I did break down and buy some pumpkin plates for Thanksgiving, Halloween, fun times. Yeah, just more to consider of if things are logical, if it goes along with your values, your budget, your time constraints, your energy level, if it's sapping your energy level, whatever mode you go into, noticing if it's good to stay there. Sometimes it's really nice to stay there. And it's really beneficial. Sometimes you set aside that time and you're having a conversation with somebody, and that's really valuable. You reached out to someone, they've reached out to you. It's good. It's what life is made up of, those moments and those connections. I actually made a longer episode today. I haven't made a longer one in a little while. Maybe I have. Maybe it seems like to you I have. It seems like I've had some shorter ones lately, but thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. I went on, since my last episode, that was actually the thing I did yesterday morning. I went on to see if that ADHD guide that I talked about, Understanding ADHD, if I had it set up on my website right with the button, and I found that the button wasn't right, and then where it was supposed to lead wasn't right. And I was getting closer and closer and closer to getting it right, and had to leave. So if you went and tried to get that and it didn't work out, give me another day. Hopefully I'll have it working right, but you'll go to my website, renee-allen.com. I did put it on my podcast page, which actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I had to duplicate some things, and they're probably still duplicated. It probably looks really weird, but hopefully nobody's there anyway. But I'll get that right. So if you want that ADHD guide, even just to share with somebody else, because a lot of people, just kind of doing the side whisper thing, they don't really understand what it's about. And I'm still learning too, for sure. I've learned so much, and it's really helpful to me. Some people don't like talking about disorders, or they say things like everything's a disorder, or everybody has something, and that may be true, but I'm interested in what I have and what my loved ones have, and there are a lot of people in my family who have this, and so it's helpful to see and help me manage my life better, and hopefully you too. So thank you. I'll be back again. Sing next week. Woohoo! In concerts, I'm so excited. It'll be my fourth time. Third concert, and one time I saw him in his play. If you haven't heard of it, it's called The Last Ship. I don't know if there's any videos anywhere of it, because I don't know if you could take videos, but there are the songs on Spotify if you want to hear it. Anyway, that's it. My little shout out to Sting. I'm fine if he doesn't know who I am. Like, that would even happen, but I'm okay with just being an admirer of his gifts and talents and ways. Thanks for being here. I'll be back again. Who knows when, but not very long. Bye.